ban phase from what we have seen in the previous best of 3. That's no Corki, no Tristana, and support Alistar. Fizz in the middle lane. Some crazy stuff right here.
And that is going to do it for our picks and bans. This is only game number 1. Keep in mind this is a best of 3 series instead of just the regular best of 2 like you get to see in LPL. So I'm pretty excited because this means that we get to see not only one of my favorite LSPL teams in King, the other team that has been one of my favorite LSPL teams for a very long time is Snake, and they are currently actually in first place after just barely having overtaken Energy Pacemaker carries. Or no, just Energy Pacemaker. Carries are way down there in the middle of the pack. But yeah, EP have held first place for a very long time, and at long last, King have overtaken them. So exciting times in LSPL. If you guys don't catch those games, then make sure to at least catch the recaps, and at least you get to watch the teams play here in the Demacia Cup versus some of the best teams in China. And EDG, like, these guys are legends. They're superstars. They all came together on the superstar team and have been just looking very, very strong, but maybe on a little bit of a slump, whereas King have actually been doing incredibly well lately. I'm excited to see what happens. Battle between LPL and LSPL. It's heating up, and I'm a big King fanboy, but at the same time, you can never count out superstars like EDG.
Yeah, and I'm definitely waiting for this Rengar and Jax to show up in the game. That is going to be really interesting. And it is Klilov. He's going to annihilate pretty much everyone. And Koro 1 on the Jax is also a scary thing. So King, this is their chance to actually show what they can do. But up against EDG, oh, that's a tough trip.
Exactly. You can't really expect to favor too many teams in the matchup versus Edward Gaming. They're a team that has suffered lately with consistency, but mostly have just had a very strong season. I believe they are currently sitting at second place in LPL currently after the last... after this week's games. So I don't think there's any doubting that Edward Gaming are favored here, but if there's any LSPL team that can upset them, it's going to be King. And keep in mind, this will not be the first time that we've seen an upset in the Demacia Cup. Just earlier on in actually the round of 32, LGD lost 2-1 to a team named RM, and that was not expected by any means. And while all the other LPL teams have been able to make it through to the next round, Edward Gaming got a bye, so this is actually their first games that they will play here in the Demacia Cup.
Alright, so this will definitely be an interesting matchup. As you said, we're Edward Gaming getting a bye just because they are one of the best teams out there in China overall. And yeah, that will be interesting to see because we have already seen one of the LPL teams getting knocked out of the Demacia Cup. This is a chance for another one. Actually, 2 LPL teams got knocked out already since Starhorn won against Invictus.
Oh yeah, that's right. I meant that got knocked out first round. LGD didn't even make it past the round of 32. But yeah, IG got knocked out because they had to face Starhorn. So, still a pretty impressive lineup for both sides, although the consistency and just the scaling, it's pretty strong from EDG. And now, oh, FCCF checks the bush with a Glacial, or a Winter's Bite, and wisely enough, we'll just back away from here. Now, Edward Gaming have always been one of the teams that is okay to sit back and force the other team to kill themselves, and really put them in a pressure situation where it forces King to maybe react to something. And now, oh, look at you. He actually forced Fizz to learn his Playful Trickster level 1 instead of going anything like Urchin Strike.
Alright, so EDG is actually this Chinese super team that is all about the Chinese gameplay, so they will be looking for the really strong team fights and not the other tactics that are actually pretty new to the LPL, coming out from new teams.
Yeah, the strategy I just mentioned that was kind of popularized by World Elite somewhat infamously has been the sort of pick late game hyperscaling champions and sit there, basically sit in lane forever, farm it up, and just wait until 30 or 40 minutes to fight. That doesn't work, just straight up. Chinese teams are too good at team fighting and pushing advantages to let team just scale into the late game. But if you look at the champion positioning right now, it's either going to be a duo mid, which is highly unlikely, or just duo lanes down bottom for both teams, as really a reluctance to head to that top side of the map at all.
All right, so King sitting on the second place spot. Actually, they have 8 wins, 4 ties, and 1 loss. If we're talking about their record in the LSPL, so they're not losing, definitely.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things to notice about at least how King's performance has gone this season is that while they may have started off with a very strong start, they too hit a mid-game or a mid-season little bit of a rough spot where they wound up tying 2 series in a row and then losing one. So at least as far as this game or their spot now, they're actually on an upswing, coming up towards the top of the standings. Not on quite as much of an upswing as Snake is, but they're still way on up there. Headbutt pulverized right in onto Name. So much early damage, and even though wait, why is Name walking back into that? He had to blow double summoners. That guy is not in a very good spot. Just look at the cower there on King. Man, that's impressive, and Name just got caught out. Now you might be in a little bit of trouble, tagged by the red buff, forced to flash. King exploding on the map at 3 minutes in.
Yeah, King definitely putting a lot of pressure, and Name sitting on a Kog'Maw. He doesn't really have a good time running away from dangerous situations, so it's really, really tough for him to get blown up so early on in the game. And especially sitting on a hyper carry, he needs to get something early on so that he can carry on through the mid game and then into the late.
And in case you guys are not as familiar, the roaming cow gank, headbutt, pulverize. He actually flashed in there so he could knock it back from under the turret. I don't know what to say. It was a 1-for-1 trade in the end, but 3 assists get given over to King, so much further ahead there in the gold count.
Oh, wow, King.
And look at this trade up underneath the top lane turret. Sky flashes out from underneath it, picks up the kill, and I don't understand how you can micro that correctly. Koro had the counter strike on, so Sky really couldn't just hit any damage there, and just incredibly impressive play. God, that was fantastic. Irelia paying off, and Nero, can you explain to me why Sky is coming back to lane with an amplifying tome? Like,
well, going for this Trinity Force pretty quickly.
Alright, well, bottom lane, we already have the re-engage. A huge 2-man pulverize. Name is just straight up dead. No summoners to speak of, and they want to make sure that they kill him off in time for them to be able to retreat, and they will only, actually, the explosive, or the Icathian surprise hits onto 2, but even still, an incredible focus on this bottom lane. King are just looking great to start things off, and even top lane, Sky with that outplay, just... I'm not gonna let my inner King fanboy run rampant here. I'm just saying that the strategic aspect of the game hasn't even come into play yet. We've just seen King go nuts in lane phase. So step 1 is winning your lane. Step 2 comes afterwards. Once you start to look for the rotations. Name apparently permanently burning. That's gotta hurt. From some red buff somewhere. Of course, that'll refresh once he dies.
Alright, so here's the thing. Actually, World Lead Academy got hyped up so much that they're stronger than any other team in the LPL, that they will crush everyone in LPL coming in as a first place from the LSPL. And it was a little bit of a false hype because right now they are sitting at the last place spot. But look at King being able to crush EDG so much in the early game. Of course, as you said, the rotations and the strategies will be coming a little bit later on, but King still... Wow, EDG, they must have been a little bit confident coming into this game, but King is just shutting them down.
I was thinking about that amplifying tome, and everybody knows it's for the Sheen, for Trinity Force, but why you go that over the extra mana? Most likely just because amplifying tome at least will deal a little bit of damage, whereas the extra mana really doesn't do anything. It's 400 gold spent in non-combat stats, so... Sky going for the extra damage there, and actually had a very complex trade there versus Koro 1. He was able to get melee range, dish out the damage, and then actually back up. He's going to go for the solo kill, staying just barely out of range of the counter-strike, waits for it to go off, and Blade surges in for the kill. That Sky is just on fire top lane on Skyer. Koro1 just doesn't know what hit him. He's gone for a sustain, he's gone for a safe start, but he just can't stay in lane long enough.
Wow, so actually let's look at the CS advantage in the bottom lane. Oh, that's a big advantage right there in favor of King. And King is just destroying EDG, and at this stage, they are looking, of course, for the team fights later on in the game, but will they really be able to get to them?
Another interesting thing about Sky's top lane, Irelia, is that he went double Doran's very early on. Doran's blade used to be like the best item in the game on Irelia. You could put as many of those as you wanted, and they'd be incredible because they were a health on hit. But now it's changed to lifesteal, so it's maybe not quite as good as powering into your Trinity Force. And that's why it's kind of a confusing thing to see him go that so early before he really even knew it that he needed that early game power. He just did it because he was so confident in being able to win these trades versus Koro1. And just look at that Sheen burst! Holy cow, Koro! He's got sustain in his inventory, but he can't even use it to stay in lane because he gets chunked down so hard.
Yeah, and Koro sitting on an 0-2 Jax right now. Of course, you get the hyper carries like Kog'Maw and Jax, and they are the ones to die at the very beginning of the game. Wow, this is gonna be a very tough time to try and ramp up to get the power spike for EDG even. So even if they are aiming at the fights, they're still gonna be really weak in those fights since King is just doing so well in the early game.
Edward Gaming falling not very far behind, but falling behind in every single one of their lanes, with the notable exception of Clearlove in the jungle. The World Elite to Transplant is actually doubling up his counterpart in farms, so big farm advantage there. So you gotta take what you can get, and at least for King, it does appear as if Lonely is at least having a good trip through the jungle so far. Or Lonely isn't having a good trip through the jungle. Clearlove not putting on any pressure. Those assists will be gold for King.
So King, they actually go for this Lucian AD carry that isn't really so strong anymore after he got nerfed in patch 4.13. But they still managed to get a kill on him, and Irelia is doing so well. And in the middle lane, we got a kill on Fizz, so everyone knows how Fizz looks like when he gets fed early on. He's gonna be really dangerous.
My big question is, like, everybody will tell you almost exclusively that, maybe not necessarily lately, but that Name has been one of the most consistent, one of the most mechanically skilled AD carries in all of China. Everybody's like, hey, who's the best AD carry in China? And a lot of sources will tell you Name. And while he may be coming into a little bit of a slump, that's where you really look to for the carry lineup for Edward Gaming. And he's actually losing in CS. Now, granted, he did get killed very early on, but that was mostly out of just completely misjudging the Alistar engage potential down bottom lane. And King made him pay for it. He got in range once again. The flash counter-flashed immediately. Name knew exactly what was coming that time around. Managed to make it out alive. Perfect counter-flash. That was instantaneous. Able to completely predict the TP coming in and prevent any of that kill potential. Sky, now out of that top lane, will give Koro1 some desperately needed time to recover.
Alright, but still, that is a flash burn for Name, so he once again will be in great danger of this Alistar jumping onto his face the next time.
And with the TP down bottom lane, Sky is not going to try to make it back to top to save his turret. Just going to group up here for Dragon. But this could be a very bad choice here. But Fizz is coming in from behind, flips himself on, and actually flashes through to find the kill onto Clearlove. FZZF is now dead, and nobody expected that Fizz burst. He blew Clearlove apart, and this is a Clearlove that had been power farming. But he picked up no defensive stats at all that would help him out there. The Shockwave almost kills the Dragon. That was dangerously close to getting stolen, but a good smite from King keeps it in their court. Now they lead 1 Dragon and 6 kills to just 1 for EDG.
And yeah, this Fizz already is scary, and what will happen next? He's just gonna get better and better. And the same goes for pretty much every single member of King's lineup. Like, EDG have no answer for them at the moment.
And the
this moment
dangerous thing
probably-
is, like you said, when it's not going to be decided during the first 10 minutes of the game, you have to watch out for the snowball effect. And that's not something that's as prevalent here in Season 4, but it does still exist. If you get too far behind, there comes a point around like the 15-minute mark where you just realize you can't do anything. Fizz, especially Snowbally champion. And in the Aurelia versus Jax matchup, that starts out very even, but if one player gets ahead, it's nightmare. Like, you just can't lane for the other one. So you can see Koro1 still up in CS just because of Sky's teleport, but down in every other department.
Yeah, now he still doesn't have this flash up, nor the heal. So he has to be really careful in the bottom lane.
Alistar might look for a headbutt pulverize combo if he wants to just lock him up. Both junglers waiting around that bottom half of the map, so they've realized Name is bait right now. He is juicy, he's got no summoners, he's a squishy Kog'Maw, he's out of mana, and he's died already this game, showing how just how mortal he is.
Alright, so actually, even though King do have such a big advantage in kills and they got the dragon, they still are not so far ahead in the gold actually. Just because this turret in the top fell down to Koro1. So what happens when they start picking up turrets? Like, EDG will be overwhelmed by how well King is doing right now.
3 Trinity Forces. Just thought I'd point that one out. Maybe a 4th one if Lucian wants to build that one out. And you expect to see Trinity Forces from Lucian's, but you can never quite predict what No Heart's gonna do. At least I believe that's No Heart. They do have their Chinese tags on right now, which makes it incredibly difficult to maintain exactly who's playing because we don't actually get to see the players, so we can't tell if they like randomly switched up a sub in for this roster. So I'm just going to assume that it's No Heart. On the Lucian, down in the bottom lane. Pickaxe first probably signals an Infinity Edge rush.
Yeah, probably. Or maybe he will pick up a Zeal then and play this
And do that weird
build.
Tristana build that we saw earlier. Yeah. I'm not a big believer in that build. Like, it's cool for a mid-game power spike, but you just kill your late game. Like, it's not going to come nearly in time. And if you're going against a Trinity Force AD carry, he's just going to destroy you once it hits, 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And, well, so let's hope that No Heart is just going for this
An
big
attempted
build.
steal here on the red buff. Clear Love, very, very questionable fish, but back up for the Fizz in here. Clear Love is in a lot of trouble. Gets dunked down on it before he can turn invisible. And it's actually Sky that was forced to flash over that Baron wall and was able to pick up the kill on Koro1. And now the immediate counter flash from you. You and Name both with instantaneous flashes, able to escape that Alistar knockup. So... Alistar didn't even have to use flash that time. That was just headbutt pulverize, and you got out of the way in time. EDG just falling behind everywhere across the map.
Yeah, but flash is burned around for EDG and, well, kills going King's way once again, so it's not looking too well for EDG.
Now, I'm not sure exactly what Clear Love is doing here. He's power farming like you wouldn't believe. Like, he has 63 CS, which is double Jarvan's. But Jarvan has 6 assists. Like, he's killing champions, or at least helping his team kill champions. And now, okay, well, Fizz is pretty dead here. He is going to go down, so that's 2 kills, the only 2 kills for EDG. Going over to you. That's actually pretty badly misplayed. He uses Playful Trickster way ahead of time. And congratulations to you for being able to capitalize on that, but... maybe a momentary sign of weakness, but still a 3,000 gold lead at 15 minutes. Like, okay, King may be a little bit sloppy, a little bit floppy in the mid lane, but they're still incredibly far ahead.
However, it was a shutdown bonus for you
That
right
is true.
there.
That is true. Bonus gold coming his way.
So that Orianna is gonna get a little bit more, and then maybe the shockwaves in the teamfights will be enough to turn it around. However, I do doubt it, because EDG, like, right now, they're in desperate need of some answers to King's aggression. 0-3 Jax is definitely not going to help them.
0-3 Jax isn't going to be a factor, and keep in mind, the big power spikes have already hit for King. Like, they are as strong as they're going to be for the next 5 to 10 minutes. They've got Lich Bane, Trinity Force, huge burst, and a lot of tower killing potential too, so you got to keep that in mind. And, No Heart is like so close to his Infinity Edge, he can just taste it. Alistar looking for the flash, the pulverize lands, and he will not be able to catch out Name. He'll be able to flash the headbutt once again. Flash blown, and I want to point out something about Alistar. He went in aggressively on that, at least attempting to find the kill on Name. But suddenly Clearlove's there for the counter gank, and instead of being afraid, Alistar's just like, oh, there's 3 champions here, too bad, I still don't care. But now Clearlove coming back in again, looking for an engage here, but you're going in onto Alistar. He's pretty squishy here, and he most likely will die, but that's 17 minutes of power farming, and now Clearlove's just gonna, oh no, it's Koro1 teleporting down. Where Sky is not there in time, and he actually will die there. Koro1 is full health and just monsters, but the flip in from the fish, he misses it. He short-armed Chum the Waters and didn't get it onto Name or Koro. And with you now down in bottom lane in time, that's a big comeback. EDG, they lose 2, but they wind up picking up 2 in return.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Lei just used up his Alistar ultimate in the fight before, so he couldn't stay alive through this. And so that caused King to kind of lose that fight pretty badly.
But can King go for this dragon? This might be a little bit greedy for them. I wouldn't put it past them to be able to take it down just because I don't think EDG are really in position for it, but just putting on just enough pressure will force King to think twice about this one. Jarvan wants to go for blue buff, but maybe a little bit of miscommunication. Dragon actually resets back into the pit, which might make it dangerous, but the re-engage is just enough. EDG did not want anything to do with that, so that's another dragon, second dragon of the game, actually, going the way of King.
So even after they lost a little bit of kills in the bottom lane, they will still get some more gold for themselves, and the situation in turrets is pretty equal, so they're doing quite well once again. EDG, actually, it is a best of 3, so EDG still have a chance of coming back into this game, so it might just be the scout them game, some kind of tactic.
Where they just like play random things, hope that they win, but then just like use that to learn about enemy champions. Now, okay, so Koro1 is in a horrible position here. He's gonna get pulverized. Now he does not have flash up for another 5 seconds. He needs it to come back up in the last second, but it's not in time. And right as it comes off cooldown, he dies. And meanwhile in the mid lane, you had the fish hunting the I don't know what Kog'Maw is. Like that's a pretty random thing to think about, but anyway, the assassination attempt is so smooth there, and JS, there's nothing Name can do about that. He finally hit his Trinity Force, and then he just dies for free. Dunks down in the mid lane onto FZZF. He's going to be forced to flash away, but look at that Irelia burst damage Trinity Force. Dealing tons of damage there in the mid lane, taking out FZZF, and across the board, King. Like, there's just no contest. Every time EDG try to fight them, they just lose over and over again. So, what is their way back into this game?
Well, pretty much there is no at the moment. Maybe King will throw at the Baron or something like that.
We're going to catch this all in again on the bottom lane there. Ignite goes down, and look at the Chum the Water damage. It's just no question. JS just runs him down under the turret. The Urchin strikes, picking up the kill. And I can't say enough. King have won their lane phase. All right, so mission accomplished. Step 1 is complete. Now, you still need step 2, and that is the rotational coordination to be able to contest things like Baron, not give it up for free or die while trying to take it. Just need to play this one slow and steady and take down some additional turrets. They took down the outer ring. The inner ring is the true test of a team. Can you take that down without giving up too much in positioning?
Oh yeah, there still is.
Oh no, Koro, not again. Koro, no! He's gonna at least find a 1v1 for a second, but he jumps right back into Lucian. Wait, no, Koro! Koro with the flash over the Baron wall, completely juking King. Put the King in the juking there for Koro1. He was able to make it out alive. That's pretty incredible. And now EDG tried for the rotational mid to take down the mid turret, but nice return to the mid lane for King. Keep it alive.
Oh, wow, that is just incredible. So Koro1 in the end manages to stay alive, but still, that was a pretty sloppy play by him. A really bad positioning right there, and the Yell King still doing quite well. And there's no answer for EDG. They need to find some fights, kills, whatever.
Now they are walking over a ward. They don't sweep that bush, which may be a little bit of a lack of experience, just not knowing where they need to take out. And a ward mid, great ward coverage from Edward Gaming, will at least let them know where King are out on the map. So ward coverage still good, but not around that Baron area. If King loop around from the other side of Baron, like from the north side, they can take that one for free, or at least without EDG knowing about it.
Alright, so King. They will be trying to bring the inner turrets down in just a couple of seconds. Hopefully.
And look at these scores starting to come out, develop for King. Sky is 5-1 and 2, 4-1, 3-0. Like, I don't understand how these snowballs are so consistent, because Edward Gaming, especially with a Rengar, like, they have so much potential to pick people off. You Rengar ult them, have the invisible ball delivery, and that's just a great way to catch them off. FZZF can also start fights that at least pick you up one kill, even if you lose the fight. But Edward Gaming just can't find which way was up. Especially the top lane matchup was the one that first started to fall. While Koro1 may be a player that some people are more passionate about than others, this game is just not his. Similar build, but just way further behind Sky than all over the map making plays.
You're right. So actually, King can be really great at getting the early kills and getting the early pressure, early advantage and everything. But the real question is, can they really close out the games? Because that's where most of the Chinese teams have been struggling in the past. And King is still in the LSPL, so it's exactly like World Lead Academy, where they were all about winning the lanes and then winning the game. But actually, if they lost the lanes, it was a really tough time.
This season specifically, the line between LSPL and LPL is very, very blurred. So you really can't make that big of a distinction, given how poorly the lower teams in LPL have been performing and how well the top teams in LSPL have been doing. It's a lot closer than you might think. It's not like the division between like Challenger and LCS level teams in other regions across the world. These guys are no joke, and they're illustrating it here. EDG, they picked a lot of late game in Jax Kog'Maw and power farming Orianna mid. But then Clearlove didn't do anything early, and the lanes just straight up lost 1v1. And there's only so much strategy you can use to come back from that. Dragon just now respawning, looking like it's a surefire win for King.
So 5-1-2 on this Aurelia right now. Of course, it would have been better for them to have most of the kills on some carry, on Fizz, or on Lucian, but it still is looking really good for them at that moment. But there's still a big CS advantage for you in the middle lane. And in the top lane, Koro1 is finally starting to build something up. However, Name, he's not really being himself in this game.
Yeah, I always wondered if you said you is doing badly or if you said you are doing badly. I imagine both are grammatically correct, but only one so in this position. A sneaky Baron attempt is being attempted. It is very misguided, and now King are actually in a pretty rough spot. Their jungler is down to like 500 hit points. And they are going to need to play this one very, very carefully if they want to not give up too much pressure there. Lonely, can be a little bit lonely back in base, but he does pick up home guard boots, so he'll be back to Baron in time.
Oh, yes, but actually, as in the previous best of 3, we have seen Hang On Club going for the Baron like 5 times in a row and didn't really manage to pull it off. So we might see the same thing coming out from King every single time that EDG actually approach this Baron. It is gonna get stopped. So it might take a lot of time, and that actually favors EDG because they have a Kog'Maw, they have a Jax.
Same thing that was true in our first series of the night between MD and Hang On Club is true here. If you let this game go late enough, then the scaling is going to kick in sooner or later for EDG. They already have Koro starting to at least be effective on that split push. He's taking down the second tier turret, might actually be pressuring the base. So wisely enough, King will send Sky to go deal with him while they start to pressure this Baron area. Now, Koro is starting to get that damage down onto the base turrets. Sky is going to come in here, and okay, Koro can't afford to stop this, and now, oh, he doesn't have Counter-Strike. Can Sky go for the follow-up here? It's going to be hard pressed, but he does have the Randu and slow, and Koro is actually going to be able to teleport his way out back to the second tier mid turret. Koro makes it out alive, and now actually it's Sky without a teleport, maybe a little bit out of position, needs to join this fight, but Edward Gaming aren't going to try to force anything. Koro's a little bit too low. And it's a TP down for Koro, and maybe a big discrepancy in about a minute when Sky has his TP up, but Koro doesn't.
Yeah, however, Koro still did a good job at split pushing right there. He got one turret. That's okay. It gives a little bit of gold to EDG, and well, the gold difference still isn't really too big. It's just 5k, maybe getting close to 6, but it's not like 10k that you would expect from such a game for King, because they are pretty far in the lead.
EDG, like, for as much as we're hyping King up as like, oh, King are crushing EDG, oh my goodness, this is such a stomp. EDG are hanging in there. They're tied up on turrets, which is a big objective to at least stay even on. And they're, like you said, they're only about 5k gold behind, which is not actually that much when you talk about, you know, scaling up into like the 30-40 minute range. So they're still behind. They still are like half an item behind on all of their champions, but you still have to look towards King to be the aggressors in these situations, just because they are so strong overall.
Alright, so the CS lead is still in the favor of you in the middle lane, and still in the favor of Koro in the top lane. So that's a little bit of what keeps them in the game, but definitely the score in the turrets being equal is a big surprise, because Koro is doing such a good job at split pushing all the time. First of all, he got the turret in the top, then the second tier turret in the bot, so he's definitely doing a lot for EDG. But still not really being too successful at 1-4-0 Jax in the end.
King, coming off of a good week for them in LSPL. I believe they actually went 2-0 this week in the only series that they played. So they know nothing but wins. We'll see if they can continue their wins here today. And honestly, it does look like things are going okay for them. But I just realized I was checking out the CS numbers, and they're actually kind of far down in CS. Top lane, there's a 50 CS advantage for Koro 1 because he's been going for nothing but split pushing. And if you look mid lane, Yu is actually almost 70 CS ahead, 60 to 70 CS ahead in that regard. So maybe no kills, but definitely have the CS advantage. And King aren't willing to start this Baron. Look at that, they spam down the pink wards. The big dunk's down coming out from Jarvan, but he goes way out ahead of the rest of his team. And even though there's the command shockwave, look at that, they're just blowing King apart. There's 1 kill, 2, and now Alistar is gonna die. EDG find 1 fight to pick, and it's all theirs. 3 for 0 exchange. EDG win the team fight, and now they'll get the Baron. I don't know what to say. This game, what can you even expect from Edward Gaming right now? Up until they win, they're losing. Kind of the backwards of the coast prediction here. Edward Gaming come out with a team fight win and the Baron.
Wow, that is just incredible. And Name did get some kills in that fight, so he's ramping this Cogmaw up. And as you just said, and as I said a while ago, they do have the CS advantage there too. So the gold is actually really close after them getting this Baron, and they might even have the advantage.
I'm just done right now. Like, Chinese League of Legends, like, more so than almost any other region in the world, games begin and end at Baron. I have never seen teams more willing to just AFK, click on the Baron buff, and just stop doing anything else. King, they started the Baron, and you could see they had no communication. They're like, do we finish the Baron? Do we stop the Baron? Do we just waffle back and forth? And that's exactly what they did. They started it up, but they could have just sat there, finished it, and at least gotten the golden experience instead of just getting wiped out and losing the Baron. So the worst of all worlds here for King. They have now thrown away what has been a 30-minute lead. Now gone, and even in the gold count, you can see now dwindling to only about 3k, which fairly insignificant at this 30-minute mark.
Alright, so that's exactly coming back to what we said before the game. Early game, getting kills and getting far ahead is a completely different thing than winning the game, actually. And here we go. King just got 3 turrets, even though they had such a huge lead. So EDG don't really have to struggle with defending their base because it still is there.
I almost feel like this is less King doing well and then throwing, and more EDG just sucking for 30 minutes and then suddenly remembering why it is that they're one of the top teams in LPL and just squashing King at the Dragon, or at the Baron pit. So now Edward Gaming they've brought themselves back into this. If they throw this one away, then all hope is lost and I'm just going to go pull my hair out somewhere. But King, it's not like they suddenly lost all of their momentum. It's gone, but it's not like they're behind or anything. They still have a Fizz that is devastatingly strong. A Lucian that, yes, has damage, but like you saw in that last fight, you just blew him apart. Like, that Lucian, it was like a ward. He had 3 hits on him and he died, so... still got to protect your backline before you can look towards killing EDG. Their damage is starting to scale up there. 3 items now completed on Demacia.
But hey, still, there is a little bit of fault in King's really habits on this fight, because I don't understand why Javan just jumped into the middle of EDG's team instead of finishing the Baron. They didn't have to.
Edward Gaming, never a team that you can count out or in any of the games that they play. Have a remarkably consistent record of either getting behind early and then coming back late, or getting ahead early and then uncoming back later on. We'll see which one of the teams shows up today. They've already managed to come back just a little bit. Now we have to talk about what the goals are for both of these teams. Now, side laners, especially Koro 1. Koro has just been the split-pushing god this game. It's a case of lose lane, win game for him, because after he got stopped top lane by Sky, he just said he's engaged split-push mode, and King did not know how to stop him enough. And now they are actually the ones forced into a very entrenched defensive positioning here at their second-tier mid lane turret.
Yeah, this Kog'Maw is getting back in kills, and Orianna is still ahead in CS. Jax is still ahead in CS, and he brings the turrets down, and they grab the Baron, and they come back in gold. And EDG, it's all about them right now. All about them finally stepping up their play.
Keep in mind, this is a best-of-3 series, so if you're like really devoted to one of these teams or the other, your heart, you better like call a doctor, grab a pacemaker as fast as you can, because these games are going to be back and forth like this. I can almost guarantee it. EDG might, be like reassuring themselves and, shoring up their defenses for game number 2. But if we have too many more games like this, I don't know what to do. Like, As a caster, from a casting standpoint, you're supposed to develop, these big storylines about how the game starts and then how it, transitions through each individual phase of it. And when you're like, hey, this team's doing well, hey, this team's doing well, hey, this team's doing well, and then that huge doing well story just disappears, it's like, well, now what do? You talk about how Edward Gaming is starting to come back. Now, Sky versus Koro 1, I don't think Sky wins that matchup. He's stacked on the defenses, whereas Koro is actually starting to build more offenses after completing the double defensive items. Didn't even finish his Banshee's Veil. And so Koro wins that 1v1, I'm guessing, but Sky might be able to collapse on him with the rest of his team. Koro immediately flashing, no questions asked, ward jump back to the turret, and oh, King went too hard on that one, and that is a big cooldown out of there. King might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, and actually, as you said, the turnaround is really big, but it's not like EDG are ahead, but actually it's King. They are not as experienced team as some of the EDG's members, so actually they will really be a little bit afraid of fighting EDG again to not lose the game completely. So now they're gonna start making mistakes.
One of the good things in siege situations like this, at having a Kog'Maw on your team, is being able to... Oh no! Fizz is gonna get caught here, and you're gonna have to watch out. Oh, okay, Clear Love does not overchase. That was a little bit dangerous. You can get really caught trying to catch a Fizz as he's dodging away from you. But now, oh, King, they're all dashing over the wall, so mobile, but you can't run away from a Rengar in the jungle. And Fizz is forced to outplay. Look at the dash out of over the wall. Flashes out after landing Chum the Waters, and King might actually be able to start up this fight and win it. Now, they are gonna have to watch out for Alistar. He's starting to get DPS, has the damage reduction on, but it's just worn off. And now Sky is going to jump onto Korra, who's just going to jump away there. Starting out the 1v1. The counter strikes down, but it's just not enough to get the stun down. Both of these teams just kiting each other right back and forth, back and forth. Now Randuin slows down onto Sky. Is that what really turns this fight? Now Jarvan jumps in, but he's going to get destroyed by Name. You can see King just starting to send their backline to the backline, and that is going to be not where they need to be. Fizz is dead. Lucian's still alive, but the command Shockwave blows him apart. He's still able to pick up the kill onto Clear Love, but it's the Acathian surprise from Name that will find the kill in return. Sky comes back in from the back line and finds revenge once again onto Koro, but now it's actually a 2-on-1. A bloodbath for both teams, and well, EDG come out ahead.
Yeah, definitely it's EDG that's profit from this fight the most, because once again, step by step, it is a little bit of a comeback, and actually a little bit of a misplay at the very beginning of the fight when Clearlove got caught with Chum the Waters and then Koro one jump on top of him, so both of them got
what is
the
Sky
damage.
doing here? I think Sky's just trying to keep them from backing, maybe. No, he flashes in. He's trying to go for the 1v2 onto you. Does he really have this damage? I don't think so. He's trying to get there. Couple more auto attacks. The huge command protect. He gets the blade surge. He's looking for it. One more auto attacks. All it's gonna take. He gets the 1v2. FZZF out of mana. There's only so much he can do. Sky, how do you envision that? Incredible play there. Bringing it back for King.
Yeah, but still, they lost one turret, and one after another, they do lose them. With Koro split pushing, with you and FCCF pushing right now after the fight, and the goal is extremely close right now.
Holy cow, man. This is the Aurelia that I want to see. I think I've played like 3,000 games of Aurelia. Like, ever since I started, I'm like totally in love with the champion. You just don't get to see stuff like that all the time. Sky, from start to finish this game, even though his team may be throw-tastic, he has been fantastic. Nice knock up there. The dunks down onto Koro and Clearlove. They both have tools to escape from this fight. Counter-Strike's going to be really big, but the Fizz coming in from the backline. Clearlove, low. Koro one, low. Sky's still in the front, dealing all the damage. And look at the Fizz. He's coming back in again. No hearts in there. He's taking all the heart the EDG can give him. Name's dead. FCZF's dead. Clearlove's low. And King, off the team fight win, hop onto Baron.
And once again, there comes the turnaround. EDG, they came back into the game, and King once again win a big fight. And go for the Baron, but this time around it will go down, at least.
I don't know what game I'm watching. This is like the Season 1 shenanigans, where for no reason teams just spontaneously lose. Like, things have advanced strategically from that point in time, and I just didn't expect to see things go quite so far back and forth. MVP of that team fight, and I hope we get a replay of this. It's twofold. It's either Sky for coming in and being the big linebacker that King needed, or it's King's Fizz player. I'm dropping his name.
JS.
It's JS. That's right. JS. He came around, flanked the back line, and blew Name apart. He was just like, "What is this fish, and why is it killing me? Fishes aren't supposed to do that." Brings new meaning to being whacked in the face by a herring. It's a big flank there. And here we actually are going to get a replay here of this team fight. Now, watch Fizz's positioning. If you can keep an eye on it, he's going to come in, flank from behind, walks all the way around and hops over the wall, sees Name over there, hits Clearlove with the fish, and actually dashes back away. So at this point, Name is actually doing a pretty good job as FCZF in there, but Sky just dives through right into the middle of the enemy team, and Clearlove's too low to try to do anything about it. King just pile on in there one after another. Man, this is the Demacia Cup. If you've never watched Demacia Cup before, you guys got to come back for action like this. EDG coming back and then going right back down again versus King. This is the only place you're going to get this kind of LPL versus LSPL action, and it's pretty incredible. Actually, I take that back. NCX and NEST are both tournaments that have this kind of stuff in them, but they aren't really being broadcast to an English-speaking audience just yet, so still got to keep an eye on that. Oh my gosh, a couple of auto attacks going off on JS. Keeping him honest. Name still not afraid.
Okay, so Edward Gaming not looking so confident anymore. Because this time around the goal lead is actually a lot bigger than it was a while before, when King was doing so well already. And they do get the Baron, so they might have a chance to push the turrets. And that's what they need, what they really need right now, because even if they,
Oh, JS.
they have like...
JS, don't do it. JS needs to stay as hidden and invisible as possible right now. Otherwise, he just dies instant. Oh, no, he came out of the bushes. And this is going to be Koro1 trying to look for a pick here. He's got the lineup coming up to back him up. And Clearlove's coming in from behind. He's stealthed in here, but he's still invisible. He's going to get jumped on immediately. Dodges out for most of it. The TP's coming bottom. And King might have baited this out. Clearlove's going to get dunked on, jumped on. Fish is down as well. And with the flash out, it's Koro1 going to dunk down onto Jarvan in the back lines. But Name is in one of the worst positions of his life in the entire game, and while Sky may be going down here, the Zhonya's is so good. It's gonna be JS just flipping all over everybody. You've got no heart there in the back. The 3 for 2. The tank line dies for King, but it went coast. It's EDG losing their jungler, their carries, and even Koro almost dying there. King come out huge off of a somewhat ironic fish doing the bait.
Yeah, and JS just pulled it off so well. But still, EDG, they were close to winning that fight, actually. So it was really risky for King.
Yeah, Sky died there a little bit ahead of schedule. And it was actually, before him, it was Jarvan that went into the fight and then couldn't get out because Koro chased him down. But that Zhonya's on JS was just so pretty. He's right in the thick of the fight, about to get blown up, and he just hits the Zhonya's. It's just so beautiful to watch. The combo of like Chum the Waters into Cataclysm, big turnaround there. And there's this function of Rengar's ultimate when you use On the Hunt. It actually gives you vision in a huge area of all the champions that are around. So Clearlove would have seen Lonely, the Jarvan player, off to the side waiting to come in for the counter gang, but he still went in anyway. So, a little bit questionable decision making. It turns around. EDG lose their first inhibitor of the game.
Yeah, and finally, King do get some turrets. They do also get an inhibitor, so they are somewhere in the game actually, because it doesn't matter if you have 10k gold lead, 20k gold lead. If you just have 3 turrets at 40 minutes mark, that was just not enough. They would be struggling with finishing up the game for so long. But finally, one fight, they got the turrets in the bottom lane. And this is the bottom lane, especially important, because the super minions are now coming in there. So EDG has to defend, and the Baron will be spawning in a couple of minutes. So King will most probably get it.
Now, FCZF is about to complete his Mikhail's Crucible. He has the 2 components of that, and that's going to be big for keeping Name alive. Name in that last fight had incredibly bad positioning. Like, he went out of his way to just walk right into the middle of the enemy team. And sure, he got dove, and I'm exaggerating that just a little bit, but if you compare the 280 carries positioning, Lucian, incredibly mobile, and has the rest of his team to go in before he hits the fight, whereas Name, like, his initiation factors, Koro and Clearlove, were off trying to get kills, and then he comes in from behind and there's nobody left to protect him. So now he's gonna get dunked on again, forcing the flash out of Kog'Maw, instantaneous. 2 ults used though, so King will have to disengage here. No, Sky! What on earth was that? He's going back in. I don't think the rest of his team got that memo. Now they're re-engaged here. Clearlove's gonna jump in, but look at Lucian. The damage too high from the backline, and Sky single-handedly zoning out both carries for EDG. They lose Clearlove. FCZF is dead. Now May's gonna die here in the backline from Fist flipping all over him. Now it's you gonna die in the backline. The culling to come out. It's not enough for the kill. But all 3 members of Edward Gaming die in that fight. Now you hits the Zhonya's. Koro's gonna die. Yu's out of this fight, and King, off of an incredible team fight, only 2 left alive, so might not be able to finish this game off, but holy hell, this is LSPL versus LPL action at its finest. The Demacia Cup does not disappoint. Now, they're actually going to look for this win. 28 seconds left up on FCZF and Clearlove, so with a few minions filtering into the base, this should be the end of the game.
Yeah, most probably, but actually I have to give a shout out to Name for pulling off every single flash at the very same second that he gets jumped on. That's really good reactions, but that is not enough to win the game. Simply, King are too strong.
And to be honest, I'm saying the name Name too much. Like, he was a little bit too far forward and got jumped on by Jarvan, so that was maybe his positioning fault. But to be honest, Yu's shockwaves have never been on point. He hit them, but he